They now say that. Um, so, Michael, it's really nice of you to join us and talk to us about this, the Rotary's international program for students. We did have a student that went to Centennial High School, Marissa Fish, who went to Italy via this program, learned so much, learned the language, and I would share monthly her little. She would send me her blog that she kept while she was there, and so everybody kind of kept up with where she was and what she was doing, and then March 2020 hit, and she was like, "Miss Sanders, I think I might have to come home early. I think this COVID thing might be a big deal," and then. She ended up, I think, on one of the very last planes out of there before they shut Italy down. So that was an experience for her, but she really liked it and she said she learned so much. She said it was life-changing. So maybe you could tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'll say a few words and then I'd like to screen share and walk you through a presentation. But the Rotary Youth Exchange Scholarship Program is probably the most prestigious and most sought after high school student exchange program in the world. We're very prestigious. We exchange about 10,000 high school students a year to virtually every country in the world. Certainly students will know that there are lots of high school exchange programs. We happen to think that Rotary's is the best for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons that parents and students like our program best is we're by far the least expensive. And the reason for that is we're the only high school exchange program that is operated entirely by an army of unpaid volunteers. So we put together an in-kind scholarship that's valued at $24,000 that we award to high school students that covers room and board, tuition, training, language training, all preparation, an extraordinary scholarship. And there are only a handful of things that the student has to pay for, which come together to a little bit more than $5,000 is the student's investment. Most other high school exchange programs are $20,000 to $25,000 out of pocket. So ours is by far the least expensive, but it's also among the most prestigious and the most successful. It's because it's so popular, it's highly, highly competitive to get into. But when a student is selected for it, they have an extraordinary experience, and it's something that stays with them for a lifetime. I was a Rotary Youth Exchange student 45 years ago, and it changed my life and brought me into Rotary and turned me into a leader.
Where did you go?
I went to Brazil.
That's cool.
And it's just a wonderful program. Anyway, if you'd like, if you can let me share my screen.
Yeah, you can. I made you a co-host.
Oh, super. Okay. Let's see. Okay, can you all see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to go through the presentation so that you can share it with the students. When I get to the videos, please let me know if the audio is not playing. Sometimes, matter of fact, let me just double check that that's working now. Give me just one moment, I want to make sure. Well, I think it is. We'll see when we get there. So again, my name is Mike Parks. I'm the district chairman for the program here in Rotary's District 6900, which means Greater Atlanta and Western Georgia. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit first about Rotary and then jump into the Rotary Youth Exchange Program. But for those who may not know, Rotary is the world's oldest and we believe most respected international service organization. We're present and active in more than 200 countries around the world, and we divide the Rotary world into zones, districts, and clubs. And we currently have more than 35,000 clubs and 1.2 million members all around the world. Members of Rotary clubs are called Rotarians. And as an organization, our mission is to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through a weekly fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. We have 6 primary areas of focus around the world in Rotary. They are to promote peace, to fight disease, to provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene, save mothers and children, support education, grow local economies, and my slideshow is a bit out of date because this year we've added a 7th primary area of focus, and that is to protect the environment. Rotarians all around the world participate in thousands of initiatives to help make our communities and the world a better place. And today we're going to talk about just one of those initiatives. And that is among the thousands of things that we do at Rotary, one of them is we operate the world's most popular and most successful high school exchange scholarship program. So these are some typical Rotary Youth Exchange students wearing the signature blue blazer that Rotary Youth Exchange students earn after a year of preparation to become a Rotary Youth Exchange student. At the graduation ceremony, we award them a blue blazer, and the students have a tradition of exchanging pins with one another. So at the end of their exchange year, they typically have a blue blazer that is full of pins, as you see here. This is kind of a graphical view or a graphical image of what our program is. It's important to note it's not just US students going abroad and foreign students coming to the US. Literally, we're exchanging all around the world. So Australian students go to Brazil, French students go to Japan, Japanese students go to Israel. Truly, we have students exchanging amongst virtually every country in the world. And we like to call it Rotary's most popular international service project. So as I said, we have nearly 10,000 high school students who are selected to participate in the program each year. The program is professionally managed by an army of unpaid volunteers all around the world to keep the program as inexpensive and safe as possible. We have a very competitive selection process. Typically, we have 3 to 4 times as many applicants to the program as we have slots available. So what that means is applying to the program, students need to pay particular attention to their application, to the interview process. It's much like applying to university. It's a very detailed application process, takes 3 to 4 weeks to complete. There are a number of essays for the students to write. Mom and dad write essays. We do a number of competitive panel interviews and eventually select the best of the best to represent Rotary on exchange for a year. Once students are selected, they spend 8 months going through a Rotary training program to learn how to become a Rotary Youth Exchange student. Similarly, we have a very careful selection process for our host families, and we have a training program for them as well. We follow some very strict guidelines put in place by Rotary International as well as the US Department of State to protect our students, our host families, and our volunteers. Some of the students find our rules to be a little strict, but they're all about keeping students safe. The vast majority of the services that students receive are donated to Rotary and have a cumulative value of more than $24,000. So that's the way we promote the program. It's an in-kind scholarship of some $24,000. There are a handful of things that are not included in the scholarship, such as airfare, insurance, some of the training and administrative costs. So the cost to participate in the program this year is a flat fee of $5,500, and that's all inclusive, and includes a monthly stipend of spending money for the student as well. There is a non-refundable application fee for students who want to apply to the program of $150. I'm going to mention a few vocabulary words because I'm going to show you a couple of videos, and it'll be important to understand the vocabulary as we go through it. So first of all, students who are selected through our competitive selection process become what we call a future outbound candidate. So upon selection, a student is not considered a Rotary Youth Exchange student until they spend some 8 months learning their target language, learning the culture of the country they're going to, learning how to be a student ambassador, and learning all about Rotary. When they complete all of those preparations, if they do so successfully and learn to speak and understand their target language, they graduate and earn that blue blazer. And their graduation is the day that they move from future outbound candidate to what we call an outbound student. So an outbound student is one who has successfully completed all the preparation and is getting ready to leave Georgia and go represent us overseas for a year. Now, an inbound student is the reverse of that. For every student that we send from Georgia overseas, we also receive an inbound student into Georgia. These are students who have done the exact same process in reverse. They went through a competitive selection process in another country, 8 months of training, preparation, studying Georgia, studying English language, and they come here and they spend a year going to a local high school and living with 3 host families in Georgia. When either an inbound or an outbound student finishes their year and returns to their home country, they're what's known as a rebound student. And rebound students are required to spend a year working with Rotary, kind of giving back to their host Rotary Club and host Rotary District. If they want to continue with the program and move into leadership and help others participate in the program, they can apply to become what's called a ROTEX. And that is a former Rotary Youth Exchange student who goes through some training to help develop future Rotary Youth Exchange students. So with that, as you might imagine, operating the program with an entirely volunteer or organization is quite complicated. So around the world, Rotary districts have joined forces to operate the program. In our case here in Georgia, we've joined with 6 other Rotary districts in Georgia and Florida to operate the program. And collectively, we call ourselves RISE, or Rotary Youth Exchange Southeast. And you'll hear that mentioned in some of the videos too.
Have you?
So I'm pausing this. Please raise your hand or let me know if the audio does not play, but I think that it will. And these are some ROTEX students, former Rotary Youth Exchange students, talking about their experience.
Have you ever thought about being in the youth exchange?
You're asking me.
Have you ever thought about being part of the youth exchange? Well, yeah, you should. Of course.
My name is Paige Mason, and I went to Thailand in 2005, 2006.
My name is Adam Hennings. I went to Austria in 2004, 2005.
My name is Brooke Odine. I went to Argentina.
My name is Lisa Miller, and I went to Germany.
I think that if people are wondering if they should be an exchange student, you should do it. If you have to ask, there's probably some curiosity in you, like, could I do it, or how would it be worth it? And that's the curiosity that makes it a good year.
I had a high school German teacher who told me that this is 1 year, but this is your life. And that 1 year can mean so much more to you than just the 12 months that you're abroad. The value that you're going to get from being abroad is going to surpass everything that you would have experienced if you were still here.
Before I went, I would kind of ask a bunch of people, oh, is it okay if I do this? Do you think I should do this? And then now, because of being on youth exchange, I just feel, okay, I want to do that. I'm going to. And then I do it, and I'm happy I did it, obviously. And I'm a lot stronger in knowing what I want to do and executing it.
Do it. It is the best experience you will have. And it won't be fabulous the entire time. You know, you're going to have rough spots, but it is definitely worth it. I mean, look at your past week. How many rough spots have you had so far? And just think now you could experience those completely differently in a different place, and you will experience all the good things that you've never had before.
It's something that I recommend to anyone who is looking for a challenge and for an amazing experience.
Just as a disclaimer, I would say be really sure that it's what you want, because that's what's going to make all the difference when you're there and you're homesick and you want to leave. Like, you have to be able to go back and say that you wanted that. But aside from that, I would say do it. It's so worth it. Even just knowing another language and having that bicultural experience, there's nothing that can top it. You'll never get that experience anywhere else. So I really encourage people to do it.
Do it because there's no reason in the world not to. And I mean, if anyone ever asks me, why should I do this? I'm just gonna look at them and say, why shouldn't you? It's the best thing ever.
The best thing ever. That's kind of the way I feel about it. It changed my life many, many years ago. And I'm so excited that we now have the program in Georgia. It's worth mentioning that the program's about 100 years old, but Georgia was the only state in the country that did not offer the program until 6 years ago. So we are brand new in Georgia, but we're certainly not brand new as an exchange program. So just to recap, the program is a 3-year experience. Year 1, the students are selected and prepared to become an exchange student. In year 2, they spend an academic year going to high school, living overseas with 3 host families. They're completely immersed in a foreign culture and language. They live with local host families that have been selected and trained by Rotary. They become completely fluent in another language and completely comfortable in another culture. Of course, they attend local high school, and we require them to keep up their grades in their new language. And they participate in Rotary service projects while they're on exchange. Now, year 3, after they return, is their year of service back to their sponsoring district. Typically, they visit high schools and visit Rotary clubs and talk about what they did on exchange and help promote the program and help promote Rotary after they've returned. So the benefits to high school students of participating in the program are, of course, they become completely fluent in another language. They become truly bicultural. They conquer an extraordinary academic challenge because we require students to learn a new language and then continue to excel in academics in their new language. It's quite a challenge. Of course, students who can do that become uniquely prepared for university and adult life in our shrinking global community. Of course, as Rotarians, we love the program because it teaches young people to live Rotary values every day. And students love it because they make lifelong friendships all around the world. So I'm going to show you now another video that was produced by some of our Georgia students who've gone out on exchange in the last few years. These are our Georgia Rotecs talking about their experience.
In 2017, 8 high school students from across Georgia became the first Rotary Youth Exchange participants to go on exchange to countries throughout the globe. These 8 students joined the tens of thousands who have participated in this program worldwide since 1958. Since 2017, many more Georgia high schoolers have embarked on their own year-long exchanges. On this journey, each discovered more about themselves and their capabilities, made unforgettable memories, and forged lifelong relationships with host families, friends, and fellow exchange students. Leaving your home may seem daunting or impossible, but Emily did it, Granger did it, and Alex did it, and so can you. Each of these students created a second home in their host countries, integrating into a local high school, learning a new language, discovering new favorite foods and traditions, and embracing a completely foreign culture. Before Rotary, these exchange students were normal high school students, just like you, many of whom never imagined an experience like Rotary Youth Exchange. But each and every one of them had the courage to take the leap into this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Hola, me llamo Nicholas Berlenden y soy de los Estados Unidos. Yo hice mi intercambio en 2019 y 2020 y mi club de acogido fue el Club Rotario de Tres Cantos.
大家好，我叫黄怡妮，我2017到2018年在台湾交换。
Oi, eu sou Emily, eu fui para o Brasil em 2018 ao 2019 e meu clube de host foi o Rotary Clube de Vições.
안녕하세요. 제 이름은 다니엘이고 2019년부터 2020년까지 한국에서 키운 학생이었습니다. 저는 미국 사람인데 한국에서 정말 좋은
Never had the experience of learning a new language and being fully immersed in the culture, and I really wanted to come out of something with a brand new skill.
I think in high school I was just kind of bored, and I always knew that in the future I wanted to study different languages and different cultures. And so when I heard about Rotary Youth Exchange, I knew it was the perfect opportunity for me to do this during high school.
These two students were able to realize their dreams of studying and living abroad with the constant support and strong structure that the Rotary Youth Exchange program provides. Valued at over $24,000, this merit-based scholarship for high school students not only includes the support of both their sponsor and host Rotary districts, but also includes room and board, tuition, a monthly stipend, and Rotary orientations. In the past, students from District 6900 in Georgia have gone to countries throughout Europe, Asia, and Latin America.
Don't be afraid to apply. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and there will be so many people along the way to support you.
I think that anyone that's nervous about going on exchange, as long as you really want to go, everything will kind of work itself out. And there's always nice people no matter where you are in the world. And you'll always have someone that you can reach out to, whether it be in your host district or in your home district. There's always someone there to help you.
Exchange is not a year of your life, it's a life in a year. It's an experience that is completely and entirely your own. From the moment you step off the plane, you start learning a new language and establishing relationships. Before you know it, you created a lifetime of memories in mere months. In this way, exchange students are united, but each student leads a life that is unique and special. You will have the opportunity to live in places you've never dreamed and find communities you never knew existed. However, it's not all easy. Learning to adjust, language acquisition, and building strong relationships in your host country are all obstacles each student must face. But it's these challenges and slowly overcoming them that makes Rotary Youth Exchange such a rewarding achievement. You will learn to appreciate not just the amazing sights in new cities, but also the smallest moments spent with your friends at school or eating at your favorite restaurant with your host family. These are the moments that make all the ups and downs worth it and give you an experience that you will hold on to for the rest of your life. Rotary Youth Exchange is
A roller coaster, full of surprises.
Life-changing.
A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Just keep your mind open and be ready to adapt to different things.
I would say just go for it. It's gonna be hard, it's gonna be difficult, but in the end, it's 100% worth it, and it's gonna be the best time of your life.
So that's our current recruiting video that we're sending out via social media to high school students throughout Georgia as we prepare to recruit for the upcoming Rotary year. Qualifications to apply. We open up applications on August 1st, and the applications have to be complete by the end of October. Students need to be between 14 and 17 years old at the time that they apply, which means they're between 15 and 18 at the time they go on exchange. They must reside and attend high school in a Rotary certified district. Typically, successful candidates are more mature and more flexible than their colleagues at school. They will have demonstrated strong academic performance and already have some leadership experience under their belt. They need to be ready to become fluent in a new language and embrace a new culture. And it's important to note here that Rotary, and not the student, chooses the country that they go to. I'll say that again. Rotary, and not the student, chooses the country that they're going to. So students have to be prepared to learn a language and adapt to a culture that they may have never thought about before. Now, we do allow students to express a preference. We let them name their top 5 countries, and many students end up going to one of their preferred countries. But one of the differences between the Rotary program and others is students do not choose where they go. They have to be ready to go to any country and learn any language. And of course, successful candidates demonstrate many of the qualities that we know through experience help make successful exchange students. I'll just run through a quick list of what some of those qualities are that we look for in the competitive selection process. Maturity, independence, adaptability, of course, leadership skills, problem-solving skills, respect for others, the ability to make new friends, got to be open-minded, a sincere interest in other cultures, caring students. Students need to be willing to do the hard work to master another language. It is hard, and we only give them about 6 months to do it. Rotary Youth Exchange students are curious. They usually have good manners, demonstrate integrity, strong character. They're open-minded. Got to be healthy to be a Rotary Youth Exchange student. Considerate, have good judgment, sense of humor helps, self-confidence, honesty, and intelligence. These are all qualities that we look for during the selection process. So we have high expectations of students. To succeed in the program, you have to become fully conversant or fluent in your new language. You've got to adapt and become truly bicultural. You have to perform well in school in your new language, in your new culture. We expect Rotary Youth Exchange students to bond with their host families as if they were their own. And this is a tough one. We expect students to minimize contact with friends and family back home. Typically, students can do this rather easily, but sometimes mom and dad have a tough time doing it, and it takes mom and dad's commitment and support as well. Ours is an immersion program, which means we expect students to disconnect electronically from Georgia while they're overseas. If they're going to spend all their time just electronically being back in Georgia, we say to them, it's better off if you don't go. If you're going to go to Japan, you need to be fully immersed in Japan. Otherwise, you won't become fluent in the language or the culture. And while on exchange, we expect students to become involved with Rotary, with Interact and their local community, and of course, follow all of the rules of the program. So I have one final video to show you. At the beginning, the voice is a little garbled, so I'll tell you what she says because it's significant. It's a young lady who says, This is my hometown, Vero Beach, Florida. I lived here until I was 15 years old, but this is not where I grew up. I grew up on Rotary Youth Exchange in Italy.
Welcome to my hometown, Vero Beach, Florida. I lived here until I was 15, but this isn't where I grew up. In fact, I grew up here. Happy Easter, everyone.
When you apply to be an exchange student, know that this is not a month. This isn't 2 months. This is a whole year. When I applied, I underestimated how long a year is. After the honeymoon phase, we realized we're not going home for a very long time. You will regret if you don't do this. It's one of the most life-changing experiences that you can have this young. And I'm really, really glad I stepped on that plane to come here, because if without it, I would just be a normal person. And why be normal when you could be an exchange student?
Why be normal when you can be an exchange student? That's one of my favorite lines from this presentation. So that's my presentation. I'll stop the screen share here, and if anyone has any questions that you think the students might have, I'd be happy to address them.
I can tell you that our program also goes through a rigorous application process. And of the kids that apply for student leadership, only about 20% get in, 20 to 30%. So they've already kind of done that. So,
Yeah.
So that's will be good for these kids who might be interested. And then we also had one student who did it. So, and so I kind of already know what her experience was like, even though, yes, it was interrupted by COVID, but it made a huge difference in her life. She told me, yeah. So, so I'm going to send this video out to the kids, and I'm going to share your contact in case they're interested in asking you a question. And I again apologize, but I didn't have them RSVP, and I picked a date that I thought was good, but it's hard to tell.
Mike, really real quick. So they make an application. Isn't there a do they have to? Is there a process on how to do that application?
Yeah, on our website, if they go to ryese.org for Rotary Youth Exchange Southeast.org and navigate to District 6900, there is instructions for the application and kind of a timeline. The one that's up there now is for last year, but it'll give them an idea of all the steps they have to go through. But it's a several page application. They need a doctor visit, a dentist visit. They need teacher recommendations. They need community leader recommendations. They write an essay. Mom and dad write an essay. And then they go through a couple levels of interviews. We do club level interviews, and if clubs are satisfied that the students are qualified, then the clubs nominate them to the district. And then we do district level competitive interviews with the district governor and a panel team. There's also in-home interviews with the parents and the other family members. So it's pretty intense. It starts in August and it goes through the end of October. Then we make our selections in early November. And in December, we tell the students where they're going. And they start their language training right away in December. And then between January and June, we have 6 days of formal training, as well as a number of assignments, self-guided assignments that the students do. And they graduate in June and they leave the following July.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to sign up, but I guess
I want to go again, I know.
I want to go. So it seems unfair that I can't go, but.
Well, I'll tell you, it would be, let me just mention one other thing, because the most popular question that we get is, so how many slots are there? How many, you know, if there's going to be 10 students applying, how many students from Georgia are going to go? Well, the number of slots, the number of students we can send from Georgia equals the number of inbound students that we host. So every time a Rotary club in Georgia agrees to host a student from overseas for a year, I get one certificate for $24,000 to award to a Georgia student. So if I can convince 10 clubs in Georgia to host an inbound student from overseas, I get 10 certificates to give to Georgia students. If I can only find 5 clubs in Georgia, then I can only send 5 students. So it's reciprocal. So obviously,
did your club sponsor somebody?
Our club, this is the first time that, well, other than the young lady that went a couple years ago, this is our first real deep dive into this program. We have hosted students from other countries for different programs. For example, we send kids 1 year to a college. So we've had host families for that, but not for high school students yet.
but we have 72 clubs in the state, and about 20 of them are certified to participate in the program. And of course, with COVID, everything slowed down, but we're doing a big push across the state to grow the program. So I expect we'll be have a good number to send out, but it is competitive. So it's important that students take the application process seriously.
Irene, for what it's worth, which may not be very much, if you want a Rotarian with you when you make this presentation to your students, I'll be happy to help. I know enough to be, not as much as Michael, I think I know enough to be able to converse about it. So I'd be happy to do that. And a question for you, Michael.
Yeah.
We'd like to have not just one student. We'd like to send a couple of students.
Sure.
We may have to host a student or two as well.
And that's fine too. Yeah.
But would it be possible for me to get your presentation and I can take it around to certain clubs? For example, our Interact clubs may be a good place to go.
Absolutely.
I like to get the high school principals involved. So Irene has a big advantage because she's got the cream of the crop amongst the students in these high schools, hands down. You would be amazed if you look at some of the stuff that Irene talked about earlier, the film they produced. It's amazing stuff.
I'm looking forward to meeting some of these students. Yeah.
But yes, if you could send me that presentation, both the videos and the slides, that would be fabulous. Okay.
Happy to.
Michelle, are you okay with that? To help me with that?
Oh, Bob, I'm 100% behind you.
Good.
I'm really excited that you're taking the lead on this, and John's great. I think we have an opportunity to make a huge impact in this area with our young students.
I agree. And I will send it out. And then I did send out the link to it. So you may already have kids that, because a lot of them clicked on it. So they are ready to go. Well, we already know, and we don't need to come on the video.
Well, I am always available to answer questions or to make presentations. And sometimes students would like to talk to other students who have done it. We have the Rotex organization. We have young people who are trained on how to promote the program. So there's plenty of resources available. And they love to make presentations too.
But I'll make sure that I send this out to them, and Bob, I'll copy you on the email that I send out. Michelle, I could copy you too, but I don't have your email. So maybe,
Well,
maybe Bob can send it.
it's just like my name, Michelle@Hanchey.com.
Okay, hold on, let me write it down. Michelle at Gmail or?
No, Michelle@Hanchey, my last name,
Oh, okay.
.com.
Oh, yeah. Somebody.
Really, Bob is taking the lead on this. You know, our club will give the support behind whatever he needs to get this rocking and rolling in Johns Creek again.
I love it. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you,
Well,
Mike.
thank you so much, and I'll share this with the kids as soon as this recording happens.
And Michael, you have my email, correct?
I do indeed. Yeah, I'll follow up with you with some other ideas that we can take offline.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
evening. Have a nice evening. Go Braves.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.